Today's video, we're going to be checking out the Hiya Toys Exquisite Minis Predator 2. This is the Shadow Predator. The figure stands, putting tape measure next to it, about 4.5 inches, which is the exact same height as the other two Predators that we've looked at from Hiya Toys. And like with the other Predators, the Predator here, the Shadow Predator, comes with the same display stand, and really for that matter, a lot of the same similar accessories as well. The base itself has a slightly almost dirtied, kind of muddied sort of base bottom to it. Has the same slots on the bottom, so you can attach these to the other Predators. I do find that this Predator stands a little bit better, but same problems that I had with the other two Predators. His feet are slightly on an angle. Let me just show you what I mean here. They are also not 100% flat, so between those two things, the figure does want to topple over a lot. So luckily, with the display stand, you can just wiggle the peg onto the foot hole. You have to do a lot of pressure applying for that. And at the very least, you have now a figure that's not going to fall over, so I do like that. Before we have a look at the other accessories, I just want to move over the Shadow Predator and bring in some of the other ones that we've looked at on the channel. This one fell off its stands. We'll just get back on the display stand. There we go. Of course, the original one was the City Hunter that we looked at, and then just recently looked at is the Guardian. Really like that they're all small-scale figures for starters, and then comparing the three together, I like that they're all distinctly different from a color scheme standpoint. City Hunter has more the yellows, Guardian has closer to more like the creams and the browns, and then you've got the very bright vibrantness of the oranges and the reds coming from Shadow Hunter. He's also one of the unique ones too, in the sense that he doesn't come with a helmet. So while the other two have had helmets, I do like the fact that Shadow Hunter doesn't have one. Let's move these figures out of the way. For full reviews of those, shameless plug, you guys can check out the previous videos that I've done. And you guys can see all the, a little bit more in depth on those particular figures. So we move the clips out of the way. We don't really need these. And let's have a look at his whole bunch of his accessories. The difference between accessories kind of can start with the additional skull here. This was something that was not packaged with the other two figures. So wanted to look at that one first. I really do think the sculpt on this is really nicely done. It's kind of a beige color. I'm really just describing you everything that's in front of you, but really nice beige, and then you've got some additional darker grays and blacks kind of in there as well in the little recessed areas. Really adds to the overall depth to the skull itself, because you can see all the little crevices and stuff like that. He doesn't really hold it because of the nature of his hands being so small, but it's something that you could likely just display, say, on the base, something like that, for example, and I think that's perfectly fine. The rest of his accessories are repeats to what we've seen before, both retracted and extended versions of the spear. Also comes with the head, or rather former head, the skull, as well as spinal cord that came also with City Hunter. That's been carried over. The disc has also repeated itself, or in this instance now three-peated itself. And it looks as if you do have the same interchangeable hands. None of these things that I've just mentioned over the last minute or so are deal breakers for me, because really, I wouldn't expect this particular figure to have unique features nor unique accessories. Every other company that produces, for example, like NECA, for example, that produces Predator figures, a lot of times you'll see frequent reappearances from these accessories. So I can't find fault for the fact that they were using the same accessories here for Hiya Toys. That's perfectly fine. Let's have a look at his face. I'm going to move his stand out of the way for that. Just going to bring the camera in a little bit. I adore this head sculpt. Now, I am trying to think whether they did release previous versions of Predators. I'm speaking in regards to Hiya Toys. I'd have to double check that. So this head sculpt may not be unique, but is unique from the 3 figures that we looked at. The other ones having helmets, of course. So I do appreciate the nice appearance here of the unhelmeted head sculpt. This is also where you can kind of see some fairly cool paint deco that it's made its way onto the Shadowhunter Predator's head. Really liking that. It almost kind of comes across to me like an ant, or very, very insectoid-like. Love the spots, and they almost kind of come across more like eyes also. I like that. Speaking of eyes, the eyes are very hard to make out. Probably because the eyes appear to be red. The pupils are black, but everything around this area is red, so it's a little harder to make out. By the virtue of the contrast, the dreads do stand out rather nicely, because now you're seeing it amongst otherwise pretty black, pretty red sort of color palettes. Something that this particular figure doesn't have, as you can probably see why, he doesn't come with the shoulder cannon. Instead, swapping it out for almost a faux fur that he gets on the shoulder area and also around the belt area. It's not heavily, it almost looks like it wants to be flocked, but it looks instead, I guess, rather than flocked, it looks like it's just been glued on fur, which perfectly fine for me. Loving this red though, and the spots definitely stand out also, which more the spots are on the interiors of the arms than the rest of the body. Instead, it kind of looks more like airbrushing, where they've airbrushed the red over top of the this almost kind of like orangey beige color. Very vibrant. I keep thinking, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking like Fire Ant, just from the deco that this guy has. As we move our way further down the legs, looks like several different things have repeated themselves. We bring in, for example, the City Hunter. You can see the lower legs, the calf gauntlets, the little calf guards. Those look like they have carried over, and of course the feet. Again, not a deal breaker for me. I mean, if it means that we get a handful of these, I certainly do not mind at all that they're reusing same components. Posability on this guy is exactly the same. Oh, and before we get into really any other posability, his head rotates all the way around. He does have the 2 ball joints, the same as the other Predator figures. So one here and then one here. Before we go any further, though, I want to mention that he also has 2 skull necklaces. A rather small one that does move a little bit, but the fur looks like it's been added over top of it. So when you move this, you ultimately move this as well. And then he has the larger necklace, which I suppose could be a little smaller. The actual threading is instead plastic, so I guess it does give a slightly more warped, outer stretched necklace as opposed to something that's just draping naturally on him. Shoulders, much like the other Predators, hinge outward, full rotation all the way around, a rotation on the bicep, a hinge on the elbow, and like with the other Predators, the hands do pop off from time to time. You just replace those out. Upper torso ball joint, nothing in the lower waist, legs split out, forward and back, a top swivel cut on the thigh, double hinge on the knee, and once again you have your feet, which look as if they're hinged. I mean, the more and more I look at them, they look as if they are hinged, but you can't really hinge them up and down. They're kind of a little bit more stuck in that positioning. So what it does translate for a figure from time to time, and more times than not, will topple over. Luckily, again, you have the readied display stand, which I will make use of, and that way he will not fall over. Really loving the look of this guy. I dig the colors, the very bright, vibrant red. I think this particular one is a win. Of the 3 Hiya Toy Predators, I think my favorite, that we've looked at least, is City Hunter. I think just because he has a more classic look design to him. But it's not to say that the other 2 Predators didn't wow me for their own specific reasons. I love the silver aspects of the Guardian Predator, and it's got to be something said for the Shadow Predator here with its vibrant reds. Still looks very insectoid-like to me, and I really do appreciate that. He does have some carried over accessories that can be expected. And again, if they can continue to put these out, I would be very inclined to want to continue to pick them up. I like especially the fact that the Hiya Toys Predators are small enough. Not only can I pair them with my G.I. Joes, which I did in the first video, but I can really just have enough of these on my shelf that they're not taking up a whole lot of space. They still benefit from the sculpting and the posability that you would get with, say, larger scale 7-inch figures, just in a more compact nature. And I really do appreciate that Hiya Toys went the route of small rather than larger scale figures that we get with other figure releases. These are currently now available for the most part in comic book stores. If they are not available in the store that you're going to, maybe ask if they can order them in for you. I would really highly recommend them for Predator fans out there that love collecting Predators and for a change can get themselves something a little bit smaller. Today we were having a look at the Hiya Toys Exquisite Mini Predator 2 Shadow Predator. It seems so far that they've just called it the Predator 2 lineup. Shadow Predator, of course, not really much relations to Predator 2. Might have something to do with the fact that maybe they've already released Predators in the past. If you guys want to check out some more Hiya Toy reviews, you can go to my playlist called Hiya Toys. Simple as that. You can go in and check out all the previously looked at Hiya Toys. Mostly Colonial Marines is what I did in the past. Would like to maybe pick up some aliens along the way as well. As always, guys, thanks for watching as you always do. If you haven't hit that little subscribe button already, make sure you do so. More videos will be coming your way. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.